Hello and welcome to PSM Speak. When the government of India announced the banning non-Basmati rice export this 20 July last month, there were quick reactions. One reaction was that the prices increased steeply in American market, those places where Indians, the NRIs go and buy rice has increased or jacked up. And there were long queues in front of the stores. So there was instant and immediate effect in America. What will be the effect on the farmers, their income, consumers, cheap availability of rice to the consumers? And then there was another question that India does not have capacity to export rice to the other countries. It doesn't have self-sufficiency. If it ensures food supply to the needy, everybody in the country. But what is truth in these arguments, counter-arguments? I asked Professor D.N. Reddy, famous economist of India, why could the government has taken this step? He said to me, having reached to an enviable level in rice exports, there could be realization by the government on the traders' manipulations, their ways to exceed the limits set to them for exports, whereby domestic prices increasing then and its inflationary effect. To stall this, the government might have taken this step. Also, he said that the forecast last month shortfall in the rains and the resulted shortfall in the rice output. So that was also one reason why he said that the government has taken this step. Then what exactly is the government's stand in banning the rice export? It clearly said in its notification to ensure adequate supply of non-Basmati rice and wanted to allay the rise in prices of rice. Earlier, that was on 8 September 2022, the policy was non-Basmati rice export was free, but with 20% duty, export duty on that. So through the duties, the government wanted to restrict and regulate the export to ensure the availability of rice in India for the needs of Indians. But what happened? After this measure of the government, the rice export increased. During September-March 2021-22, rice export was 33.66 lakh metric tons. That increased to 42.12 lakh metric tons by September-March 2022-23 in a year. 35% increase. Then in the current year, from April to June, the rice export amounted to 15.54 lakh million tons. During the comparable period last year, it was 11.55 lakh metric tons. So clearly government has seen the trends of increase in the quantity. It was increasing, had been increasing even after the announcement also increase, not decrease, because of the profitable prices in the international market. Of course, the government says that the share of non-Basmati rice export in total rice export is only 25%, and Basmati rice can be exported as usual, and non-Basmati parboiled rice also can be freely exported. Of course, broken rice export was also banned on 8 September last year. However, the retail prices in the domestic market also increased by 11.5% in 1 year. And then last month itself, the price rise of rice was 3% over the previous month. And there has been inflation, and this adds fuel to the fire, and then government wants to checkmate the inflation, more so of food inflation. Coming to the reaction in America, yes, people queued, though not in all the states in the United States, but in many Indian stores there were queues, panic buying. The supplies did not affect so instantly after government announcing the ban, but people were scared that their preferred rice mightn't be available subsequently. So there was increased demand. Cashing in on the increased demand, the traders have jacked up the prices. But doesn't America have enough rice production and stocks? America is self-sufficient in rice production. Although it accounts for 2% of the rice production in the world, its share in total exports is 5%. As much as 45% of crop is exported. So there is no question of the rice produced by America not being available in America. 4 places where rice is mostly concentrated, the production I am talking of. One is Arkansas Grand Prairie, other is Mississippi Delta, which comprises Arkansas, Mississippi, Missouri and Louisiana. Then Sacramento Valley of California. These are the areas where rice is grown. But rice variety, there are more than 1,000 varieties in rice, but 4 varieties are important. And this non-Basmati variety type which Indians demand falls under that indica variety. In American rice production, 75% is indica variety. Which are the 3 other varieties? Aromatic, Basmati rice and jasmine. Jasmine Americans import from Thailand, and Basmati rice from India and Pakistan, and Japonica. And 4th variety is glutinous, other specialty rice. So there is no shortage, and we also can observe that the prices of long grain rice, that indica variety rice, which are comparable to the non-Basmati rice, their prices haven't gone up after Indian ban on exports in America. Now, doesn't India produce enough rice? In 2022, India exported 55.4 million tons. That is more than the export of the next 4 prominent countries. Thailand, Vietnam, Pakistan and the United States put together did not export as much as India exported. So Indian exports, rice exports constituted about 40% of total world exports. Overall food grain production also, India is self-sufficient as the government of India claims, not only claims but statistics tell. In 1950-51, we remember that boat to mouth importing food grains. That time the food grains production was 50.8 million tons. 6-time increase by 2021-22 when the food grains production reached 314.51 million tons. But the critics say the absolute number do not tell the real story. Also, there are enough buffer stocks. As per Indian government data, on 1st April 2023, in the FCI godowns, 113 lakh metric tons of wheat against the 75 lakh metric tons of buffer requirement. This is about wheat. Rice, 236 lakh metric tons against the requirements, buffer requirements of 136 lakh metric tons. So enough exports, enough stock, 6-fold increase compared to 1950-51. But critics say these absolute numbers do not reveal the real story. Their claim is in 2011-12, these are the examples or the evidence that is advanced. The dietary energy gap in India was 30%, what is recommended and what is actually available. 30% gap in rural India and 20% gap in urban India. Also quoted is the Oxfam's Food Availability Index, India's poor rank of 97. Then the Global Hunger Index, built by Concern Worldwide of Ireland, a non-governmental organization. Another non-governmental organization, World Hunger Health, they released the Global Hunger Index. As per their report, India's rank in 2018 was 103. Then 2021 it was 101. 2022 it is scaled up to 107. But the government of India criticizes the claims of both Oxfam and more vehemently of Global Hunger Index, these non-governmental organizations' calculations. It doesn't accept the methodology that these organizations use to build this hunger index, their basis, the criteria. Also it says that they have a lot of misinformation. Their information is incorrect and they spread misinformation. The idea the government of India feels of these organizations is the intention to taint the India's image and not to recognize India's efforts for ensuring food security in the country, increasing the food production in the country. Then another thing which critics point out is noteworthy is this, that the per capita food grains availability is important, not the quantum as such. Because in 1950-51, the population was only 36.10 crore, which is now more than 140 crore. When the food grains production has increased, it is to be seen whether the per capita availability increased. That means if the food grains production increased in tandem with the increase in the population, proportionate to population growth. That time per capita availability was 140.7 kilograms per year. And true, it has reached now 187.8 kilograms. But yet, it is not very high compared to 1991 level when it was 186.2 kilograms. Also compared to China, the Chinese per capita availability in 2015 itself was 450 kilograms. Even taking the example of the rice, we can see from this table, 8 top producers also happen to be 8 top consumers. Taking China's example, China produces 148.277 million tons of rice against its consumption of 150.621. It consumes more than it produces, and it produces more than India. India's 120.544 million tons rice produced in India, and India consumes much less than it produces, so it is able to export 104.170 million tons. Maybe India's food grains production is high despite these comparisons and per capita availability, but India is a net importer insofar as pulses are concerned. In 2021-22, India imported 2.2 million tons of pulses. So did India import vegetable oil. In 2022-23, it imported $20.84 billion worth of vegetable oil. So food security is important, but nutritional security is also important, and food availability to everybody is also important. And these are the areas to be probed, whether India is really so surplus a producing country as to export so much of grain. And now what is the impact of India's ban of non-Basmati rice on world markets? Indian exports constitute about 40%. So definitely there will be impact. Of course, as we have seen, India's non-Basmati rice export is only 25% of its total exports. Then the global price of rice has been increasing for the past 1 year. It has increased by 15% with the trends of further increase because 3-4 months is left for the fresh stocks to arrive. Then the adverse wealth conditions in the rice producing countries, not only in India, has affected the rice output and supplies and exports. And India's withdrawal or ban to that extent will definitely have that much impact, if not more. Add to this, several countries have devalued their currencies, which means the imports become costlier. So will be the rice imports to them. The prices to the consumers will also be high, and to that extent their food security in the rice consuming countries. As we know, 50% of the world population, their staple food is rice. So it is very important. There will be impact, maybe temporary. Till such time the output increases and exports come to the original levels. So what India should do? India should have its policy to ensure food security and also the income security, employment security, income security to the farmers. Since a large number are dependent on agriculture and allied activities, the incomes of farmers is important. Also the prices, the consumer interest is important. These are the things to be taken into account before deciding the export-import policy, particularly relating to the food grains. So a comprehensive policy to ensure these things, and this policy should form part of these goals, and Indian government needs to balance them to take best out of the situation. And thank you very much for so patiently watching this video. Please subscribe to this channel. Subscription is free, but it encourages me greatly to bring you more videos of this type and more frequently. Thank you.